impromptu live video. I just got like 40 minutes to kill before I have to leave. So I figured while I come in here and do a few things, I could talk to you guys and, you know, discuss some things with the channel and get some ideas from you. I'll give a few minutes, see if a few people show up. You know, usually I'll put something on Facebook, Instagram, on the community section in here to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing these live videos, but every once in a while they just happen out of nowhere. So that's why you want to have your post notifications turned on. That way when I decide to be spontaneous and throw everybody a little Valentine's love with my horrible mug, you guys will know that's happening. So basically going forward, as I mentioned before, I want to start doing more and being able to give away more, but you know, financially it's tough. I'm limited on what I can do. In a perfect world, I'd love to be rich and just be able to give stuff away all the time, because I think that's cool to, you know, as a thank you to people that are tuning in and doing good things for the hobby. If you guys are on Facebook, Kevin from Nerd there started a new Facebook group. Kevin is a lot like myself in that we are kind of like ADD people with really good intentions. So, you know, from time to time, I'll start a new Facebook group with this intention of I'm really going to dump myself into it and this and that, and it seems good for a little while, and then, you know, life happens, I get distracted, something shiny over here, I'm busy over here. So Kevin has done this in the past, where he had a Facebook group called Green, which I forget what it stood for, but it was similar to the idea that he started now. The new one is basically Reptile Keepers Against Prejudice, I believe it's called. And it's just kind of a group where we can get together, bounce some ideas, share our experiences, and work towards, you know, maybe ending the stigma that is reptile keepers. Now, a lot of the stigma is completely off base, but a lot of it we bring on ourselves. And so self-policing to some extent is important, but self-policing in a constructive manner is even more important. Just bashing people and treating people like crap kind of shows people that we are what they think we are. And so, unfortunately, perception in just about everything trumps reality. So we really have to kind of give an over-exaggerated positive look at ourselves to the rest of the world, just to get people to kind of give us some human decency. And I know that that's not fair and whatever you want to say, but that's the reality of our situation. Hopefully you guys watched yesterday's video, which was kind of related, where, you know, we discussed some of the statistics and science behind why people are afraid of these animals or don't like them. And as I mentioned in that video, 66% of adults have at least some form of anxiety towards snakes, with a third of those people having a phobia and 10% having a very, very serious phobia. So we're talking that two out of every three people that you meet are, you know, have anxiety towards these animals. So you have to remember that. So when you're posting bite videos or bite pics, when you're posting feeding videos, you're fueling this anxiety for people. And I know some of us feel like, well, we shouldn't have to hide what we do. And it's not really about that. It's just about having some respect for the feeder animals, having some respect for the animals we keep, having respect for other keepers, and having respect for other people. And, you know, being a decent human being is free, so it really doesn't cost us anything. So every time you're going to post anything reptile related, think to yourself, put yourself in the position of these 2/3 of the people that are going to see this, that are going to have anxiety, even if it's a totally positive post. So you want to make sure it's as positive as possible. And I saw a super chat come through, so let me check that out real quick. I'm kind of talking and not paying attention. Hey Sam, what's up? Thank you for joining the new, being the newest member of the page. We're going to do a member video this week. Scott, what are you doing? Is that old man Scott? Aren't you missing the early bird lunch right now? Hey, Aaron. The paper folding. Yeah, Graham, this is like when even when I'm not working on snakes, I'm like folding paper, watching a show on Netflix. Like I'm always trying to do something productive. Yeah, so Mike, I try to tolerate that too, to an extent. But when people call my snakes things like that, it does bother me. And I've tried to be really good about that, but like chonk and all that stuff just gets under my skin to a level that I cannot describe. But I do try to be patient with people. And the biggest thing is, every single day, because 2/3 of the population of the world have anxiety about these animals, that's a lot of opportunity that we all have to spread some positive or some education, whatever it is. So there's a ton of opportunities. And, you know, we don't have to be like, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses and go knock on people's doors and, you know, tell them about snakes. While, you know, in a perfect world, it'd be nice if we could do that, I guess, you know, really get people behind the whole thing. Take the opportunity when it's there. You know, it could be something as simple as somebody goes, ew, gross, when you share a picture of a snake. Don't immediately get defensive. Don't be rude. Just say, hey, you know, I love this animal. I really care about it, but I'm just curious, why do you feel it's gross? And listen to them. Genuinely listen. And don't listen to respond. Listen to understand. And try to see from their perspective. Some of this is innate, as I discussed in the video, where it's in our brain. Even us that loves these animals has the same reaction in our brain. It's a natural thing. So you have to understand that these people are not doing this just because they're uneducated. It is a natural reaction that these snakes, you know, are over the top for us. You could look at 100 pictures and show a picture of a snake, and it's going to get a different response. And so we have to understand that, be understanding. Also, another thing that I try to tell people all the time, a terrible fold there, is that as a minority, so you got to imagine if 2/3 of the people have anxiety, they're probably not snake keepers. So then you have 1/3 of the population who maybe is going to keep snakes. And obviously not all of them are going to for financial reasons, or maybe they don't have anxiety, but they just have no interest in them. So we're a very, very, very small portion of the people. And so we truly have to be a vocal minority in a good way. You know, not these people that are crying, griping, and changing the world in that way, but we have to make enough noise. And so one of the things that we need to do is educate other animal keepers that our problems are their problems too, and that we're just a stepping stone. But because we need their help, so if you're a rat keeper, and I love rats, or rabbits, or sugar gliders, or small mammals, small birds, you keep chickens, whatever it is, the last thing you want to see is scrolling on your social media feed, and there's your favorite animal suffering, being killed. Yes, it's natural. I understand that. I'm not arguing that. Never will I. Well, natural to some extent. I mean, nothing in captivity is natural. So anytime we're feeding in captivity, it's not the same thing as a cheetah taking down a gazelle. The gazelle has a chance to get away. The prey in captivity does not. So it's not the same thing at all. But even though it is still nature, these animals eat other animals, we can be a little more discreet about it. It doesn't mean you have to hide it. If people ask what these animals eat, you can certainly tell them. But you don't need to put it out there. And especially, you know, you get the people, well, oh, feeding videos can be educational. It's been a long time since I saw an educational feeding video. Real long time. Most of them I see are actually appalling, and it's people laughing at these animals' pain, or the animals screaming and mocking it and things like that. And that shows people exactly what they think we are. It just reaffirms that for that. And for that one little thing, that one little clip that goes out on the internet, 1,000 clips of positive things isn't going to undo it. So we really, really, really have to be diligent. And that's where we need to self-police. When you see people posting that kind of content, maybe say, hey, have you ever thought about how this can impact our ability to keep? And honestly, a lot of people are going to get defensive, and they're going to give you the whole, this is America or wherever, and freedom. And okay, yeah, freedom still comes with responsibility. In order to maintain that freedom, you have to use it responsibly. So when you use it irresponsibly, you lose it. And people don't seem to have that connection. Those neurons we're talking about firing off, a couple of them in between there are not making that connection. So You know, try to educate people. If they're going to be argumentative, they're not going to listen. Sometimes you have to walk away. Don't argue. Don't, you know, I'm not throwing stones because sometimes I get caught up in this too. But we have to try to be more responsible as a community and think more about how things are impacting what we're doing. The big T positive, I will take out towards the end just because I don't want to be all sweaty and she's big. I think I can take her out. Her and Ron are paired up, but they're not doing anything anyways. So just remind me in like 15 minutes or so, and I'll drag her out. But anyhow, I lost my total train of thought here. But yeah, we just have to be more responsible as a community and really try to see what we're doing. Interesting, the neurons you were talking about. Always wondered why I still jump when I see snakes in the wild, even though I love them. It's a very natural thing. You know, our brains are telling us that it's a threat. Just like we work with snakes and we try to get them to a point where they don't see us as a threat, it's natural for them to see us as a threat, just as it's natural for us to see them. So as much as we work on our snakes, we need to work on ourselves too. A lot of times when I deal with people and they're having trouble with their snakes, I'll have them send me a video. Like, send me a video of you taking the snake out and how it's acting. And I can see behaviors in the person where the person's acting apprehensive and creating this energy that's telling the snake, like, this is wrong, something's wrong, and basically kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're so worried about getting bit that now you're getting bit. And we all have that. I have certain snakes. My female white lip, you know, she still gets my nerves rattled sometimes because she moves so damn fast and she comes out of nowhere and she just wants to kill me. And so, you know, I'm not, you know, we're not always able to completely kill that. Sometimes it's in the back of our head. And I know full well that part of the way I work with her is continuing that cycle, and I'm a part of that problem. Now, the difference with her versus working on a baby blood or even an adult blood is those bites really don't hurt. That bite is going to suck. And she's got big teeth and a lot of teeth, and if she hits me in the right place, you can get some permanent damage there. That's not a joke or an exaggeration. Those teeth are big enough and plenty enough, and the way she's going to hit and hit repeatedly, you know, there's a good chance she could hit a nerve or hit something that could do some damage. So I don't want to take a bite from her. So that's what makes it tough with an older animal, where it's an animal that is potentially dangerous. You know, if you got a 15-foot retic that was wild caught or something, you're going to deal with some BS, and you're going to have to try to protect yourself while, you know, projecting some level of confidence to that animal. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. And that reminds me, part of what I wanted to talk about in this video, where I got sidetracked, as I always do. So I want to give some stuff away when I can. And the super chats are really going to help me do that for sure. The memberships, things like that, as stuff comes in. Now, the unfortunate part of YouTube is they do take a percentage. And it's really weird because super chats lately, they've been taking a lot more than I understand they're supposed to be taking. So like, somebody gave me a $50 super chat last time, Fair Island. Last time we were on here, and I got about $28 from that actually is going to come to me. So I'm not sure if YouTube is taking out taxes as well as their fees out of that. I'm not, it's really hard because you try to look up this stuff and it's very convoluted in figuring it out, but they take a large chunk. But what I would like to do is the chunk that I actually get is turn a lot of that around. And what I'd like to do is help support USARK, but I want to do it differently than just taking some money and sending it to USARK. I already do that. That's why I have a shirt. You know, I'm a member. I send money when I ship my snakes out. You know, they give you the option to add money. I'm always adding at least that $1 that comes up automatically. If I'm sending out multiple snakes, I might do more if I can. But what I would like to do, I did a poll on my Instagram of just, yeah, see, 30% is what I understood they were supposed to take, but I'm losing like 50%. So I'm wondering what's going on, and that's not the first time. The Christmas video was the same thing. About 50% of that money didn't come to me. And they also don't really give you any kind of statement to track exactly what's coming from where, but I can look at a video and see how much that video made, and now I'm getting off track again. So anyhow, so what I want to do, instead of just giving money to USARK, I did this poll on Instagram of just reptile keepers. Not a lot of people participated in the poll, unfortunately. I'd say about 60 people did. But about 55% of those were I believe not members of USARK. It was close to 50-50. I asked how many people were active members that were keeping or breeding snakes or reptiles. And so about 200 and something people saw that poll and only 60 participated. Now I do have regular real life friends that have nothing to do with USARK on there and things like that. So obviously those people weren't going to participate. But there was probably 150 to 175 people that saw that poll that I know are keeping reptiles actively or breeding reptiles. And so a lot of them, I got to assume if you didn't answer, that you're probably not a member. So I think a minority of us and a minority group are members of USARK, which really is a problem. Because unfortunately, they really are our only defense right now, other than us being on our best behavior and being active. But the thing is, I don't live in Georgia, I don't live in South Carolina, I don't live in Arizona, I don't live in Oregon, I don't live in Michigan. So unless you have somebody centralized that's letting you know when all this legislation pops up, it's hard for us to organize and fight it. So at the very least, you should be following USARK, but really, especially if you're breeding reptiles, you should be contributing because they're your only line of defense to save you from losing everything. And I say save you, it's us. It's all of us together. So what I would like to do is, as I get enough money to give away, is do some kind of little contest for people that aren't members of USARK. And you know, basically the prize would be a 1-year USARK membership, the $40 one, because obviously I'm not Oprah here. And I won't be able to do it that often unless you guys are really active with the super chats and the channel starts taking off a little bit better. Right now, total, I've been doing YouTube since November of 2019. So a year and a few months, and total in my bank account, I've received I believe like $275. So we're not talking about a huge amount of money here for over a year's worth of work. And I'm not complaining at all. It's great to get anything. But I'm just saying I'm limited in what I can give away because, you know, I have to keep the lights on. But I do want to do that and get more people to have memberships with the hopes that they get that first one and then they renew it the following year, follow along better, get the newsletter, understand what's going on, start participating more and not only sending emails and making public comments when these things come up, but also engaging their friends and family to do the same. So we really have to grassroots this thing. So that's where the new group that Kevin started can help. Give us a place to vent, to talk, share ideas. Obviously, I try to do a lot of that on here and on my other social media. So I appreciate everybody that did email on like the Tegu ban in South Carolina, because if that thing went through, you know, my friend Josh, who you guys have seen on the channel, we did a wonderful Tegu video there. Josh would be devastated, not only financially, but he is, and if he's watching, he's going to kill me, but he's a crazy cat lady for Tegus. And he really is, and he's so passionate about them, and he loves them to the point to where Josh spends his own money out of his pocket to actually ship up from Florida the invasive tegus that are caught. He has special caging at his house where he rehabilitates them out of his pocket, worms them, whatever they need, works with them to acclimate them to captivity again, you know, tame them down, whatever, and then he finds homes for them. So he really is passionate about it. And if this ban goes through, then he's unable to do that because not only can he not bring in those tegus, he can't even have them. So that's a big hit to the species. And, you know, here's somebody that's taking personal responsibility for a bunch of irresponsible owners at some point, you know, out of his own pocket and out of the kindness of his own heart, and because he really cares about these animals. And, you know, here's this state saying, you know, you can't have these. And for no reason. There's no science, there's no nothing. That there's no invasive population there, nobody was attacked by a rogue tegu, nothing. Like, there's no reason for this legislation. And the only reason that this kind of legislation happens is these legislators and these people actually, their job is to create legislation. So if they're not getting bills started and passed and all of this, then they can lose their job. So it's kind of sad that, you know, as Americans, basically we're voting for people whose job is to take our rights away. How many times have you seen laws come out that give us more rights? It's not very often, if ever. You know, it's just always taking something away or restricting something or taking more of our money to do what we're already doing. So we have to be diligent about this, and we have to fight, because we have to show these legislators that we are not a stepping stone anymore. We've lost a lot in the last 15 or 20 years, a lot, massive amounts of things. On the state level, on county levels, on the federal level. I mean, there's animals that are going to be extinct in captivity soon, and maybe in the wild too, all because we're not, being diligent, and we're not being responsible enough. Michigan gang, oh boy. Wait, government doing something based on no facts? What? When is the decision going to be made to Tegu van? From what I heard, they're going to meet on the 18th of February about that. Now, I don't know if a decision will be made that day. A lot of times with these committees, they meet and then they adjourn and meet again and adjourn and meet again. It's just like going to court for something where you keep getting continuances. Sometimes they make a decision then and there. Hopefully we rattled the cage enough for them to at least table it until the future. Obviously, it would be nice to just see it go away completely. But that rarely happens, unfortunately. A lot of this legislation that pops up has popped up before. And the reason that they're pushing so much of it now is because you have all three branches there with, not all three branches, but the House, the Senate, and the President are all on one side of the table. So it's a lot easier for them to get legislation passed without the usual parties just trying to, cock block the other one, for lack of a better word. Because unfortunately, as much as the checks and balance system kind of makes it so they can't do good things, it also keeps them from doing bad things. And now we've lost that. And I'm waiting for these good things to happen. So far it's been pretty much, bad, but hopefully we'll see some good things at least out of it as well. So much for that COVID release that was going to go out on the first day of election, huh? That's happened. Or relief, I said release. But, whatever. Anyhow, so basically I want to be able to do that, give away some memberships, and still give away stickers and things like that I can do when I can do that. But I want to figure out a way to do that, whether it's a contest, whatever it is. I think a cool thing would be, maybe for people to share their contributions to the hobby, how they're helping, what they're doing. And don't think like you have to be somebody who's out there, doing crazy things. It could be simple things. So maybe we can do something around that, and then either do a random drawing or let people vote on, who they want to donate this membership to. And I think it's tough, because then I feel like I'm leaving out people that are already doing the right thing and are already members of USARC. In that, so I want to figure out some way that maybe those people could get something as well, whether it's a donation in their name to USARC or whatever it is. I don't think you can pay like a year in advance on a membership that I know of. Yeah, I mean, introducing your blood pythons to people would certainly count. If you have somebody that's apprehensive and you're educating them, then that's helping. It doesn't have to be something profound. It can just be, taking the time to talk to somebody and explain to them, because people, we are innately curious creatures. So if you open that door a little bit, some people will wander in and ask questions. And too quickly, I see people kind of call them stupid or laugh at them or whatever it is. And that discourages them from asking questions and educating themselves. And what we want is to open that door where, some people are never not going to be afraid of snakes. You may not change that. But if you could just get them to see they're an important part of the ecosystem, they deserve protection, or at least they can understand how you feel about the animals, compare it to something that they understand, whether it's, people get so defensive if you compare them to children or other animals, but that's the parallel that exists. That's how you might feel about these animals, is how they feel about something else. Even if their hobby is collecting old cars, like try to explain to them in a sense of that, like, this snake to me is like my 57 Chevy or whatever, whatever you have to do to get them to understand what our perspective is. Is a hybrid between a blood python, oops, god damn it. I hate how this chat disappears before I can even read it. Is a hybrid between a blood python and a Borneo bat. I'm not going to be breeding snakes for quite a while. So, I mean, it depends on what you consider bad. To me, yes, terrible. I don't like hybrids, especially within the short tail complex. It muddies the waters a lot, and they can be very difficult to identify. And every time you talk to somebody that's breeding and making hybrids, they'll always tell you, well, I'm going to label them as hybrids, and you might, but the next person that buys it and flips it is probably not. And in a perfect world, everybody would label them properly, but I can tell you at probably 75% of the reptile shows that I go to, I see short-tail hybrids and being sold not as hybrids. They're being sold as a Sumatran short-tail, or they're being sold as a blood python. And some of them are not so obvious, but some of them are really obvious, and still it doesn't matter, they're being misrepresented. And if you're in the blood pythons group on Facebook, it is really, really frequent. Really frequent that you see people posting their new one asking what it is, and it's a hybrid and they didn't know. And some of that confusion is why we get so frustrated when people say black blood or Borneo blood, because people then think that it's a morph instead of a species, and then they think that, well, I have a Borneo blood and this blood and I can breed them together, and they don't even realize they're making hybrids, which goes on the people too, because if you're breeding snakes and you don't even know what you have, that's really a problem. But it's not like we can stop people from breeding these animals, so we just need to make sure we're educating them and make sure we're educating ourselves. Also, the hybrids within the species, 99.9% of the time, are much uglier than just the parent species by themselves. They're usually like a real dull brown and like muddy looking and just not attractive. So I really don't see any reason to do it. I think a lot of people want to stand out in the hobby, and hybrids are so controversial that it gives them that easy path to standing out. And that's a mistake. Stand out for the right reasons, not just because you're cutting corners and whatever it is. Dun, 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 dun. I don't even want soup. Need a sticker for your back window. Scott, message me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and I will send you one. This last election was so important. My grandparents voted, and they've been dead for years. It's so funny. I hate getting into that stuff, but it's crazy to me that people think either A, this is the first time voter fraud has happened, or B, that voter fraud doesn't happen. It blows my mind. There's too much on the line for these corporations, and there's too much money going around for these people not to have control over what's going on to some extent. And obviously we've seen cases where clearly fraud has happened in the past. Going back to like 2000, we saw it. I believe it was the 2000 election, and a few others over the years. But yeah, I think it's crazy to imagine that it's not happening. It's kind of like people that are like, oh, well, aliens can't be real at all, or no other life. Like, it's really pompous to think we're the only life on one planet out of all these planets. It's just crazy, and all these places we've never even seen. But I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, I mean, I literally saw video stuff of things that where people clearly lied, and people are, oh, there's no evidence. Well, I mean, you're blatantly lying. So if there's nothing sketchy going on, why you're lying doesn't make any sense. But like I said, I don't want to get into that. I hate getting into politics because it just divides people. And right now, especially within this hobby, we need to be together as much as we can. So anything divisive is really not worth diving into too deeply. And we can have differences of opinions, and we can have all kinds of different views and things like that, and still be friends. And that's what's important, to look at what brings us together and what we have in common instead of what's different. Whether it's our love for reptiles, whether it's, you're here because you saw a live video and you're on YouTube, we're on YouTube. That's something that's the same. Like we can look at that stuff instead of focusing on the negative end of things, and we'll all be better for it. And I'm not the most positive human being. Anybody that knows me knows that. So, me saying that should resound to you that, the time is here to really find a way to find common ground and fight for each other. because I can promise you, as far as the government goes, they don't give a shit about you, me, or anybody else. We are not profitable for them, so their interests are elsewhere. So that's our common ground, that they don't care about us. So the more we stick together, the more our voice gets heard. You know, they love to divide us because that's what makes it easy for us to be governed. If we're all together on stuff, it's a lot harder. So keep that in mind. Try to always see things from other people's perspective. I wanted to see some Sumatrans. Do you have any other snakes you breed other than STP and olive pythons? My water pythons are paired up right now. Maybe next year I'll try the white lips, depending on how I feel with the female. My McLots probably have 2 more years or so before they'll be ready, maybe 3. I grow everything up slow. I'm trying to find a Cape York spotted male for my female, which I've not had good luck with. They're getting harder and harder to find, harder and harder to breed because of the fact that only 1 pair was brought in here in the 70s. Let me see. You are in shed, I believe. Hi. Don't want to startle you. Are you in shed? I can't tell. Yeah, this girl's in shed. But somebody wanted to see a Sumatran, so I'll grab one out. She's in her very, very dull stage right now. Got a dot on her head from something. Probably pushing, because she is very impatient about food. So, like, within 2 days of eating, she starts pushing again. Which is a pain in the ass. I tried her in some different setups. She pushes the least in this one. But she's just an eating machine, and obviously I like to slow grow stuff, so I'm not feeding the crap out of her, which makes her very, very angry. You know who I should show off? Is this guy here. Hey, bud. Come here. So, you guys will remember I haven't really talked about him in a while. The little kink-necked guy here actually started eating on his own. I never assist fed or anything like that. Just kind of waited him out, and eventually he figured it out. He's eaten probably like 5 or 6 meals now. Obviously, I feed him very small meals because, you know, getting past that kink is pretty tough. What I'm trying to do is get him to go into a shed cycle so I can see how he sheds. I do have a pet-only home lined up for him. If, you know, he continues to do all right and grows and nothing seems problematic. But I'm very, very, very happy that he's doing all right. Let me see what you just said, Kyle. I do not know. So the water pythons have been breeding a lot. This last time I put them back together, I didn't see much activity. He went right underneath her water dish, and he's pretty much been under there. He's weird. Like if he goes underneath the water dish, he won't come out for like weeks. Sometimes it gets to the point to where like he'll start to dehydrate himself. So I have to actually go in there and take him out and make sure he comes out of the damn thing. He's one of those snakes that when he finds a spot to hide, man, he doesn't leave it. And but the female's very active. She's always front and center as soon as I open the thing. The only time that she doesn't come straight out when you open it typically is either when they're locked up or like in a little cuddle pile there, for lack of a better term, or if she's in shed. If she's in shed, she usually won't come out. But yeah, she's very, very nosy and very, very confident in her space. So and a lot of Liasa stuff is like that, where they'll just come right out at you. Some of them will come out striking. She's not looking to bite. She's definitely looking for food. But there's no hesitation on her part. And then once she comes out and sees you don't have food, she wants to like duck out and jet and get the hell away from you as quickly as she can. Which you have to be careful, because she'll like literally jump out. I know she doesn't have legs, but she will like levitate and fly across the room. So you always have to be watching her eyes and see what she's thinking, because she's very fast. And you know, like I said, she has no interest in biting me, really. I don't think she's ever taken a swing at me that I can think of. you know, she will bite, but you have to kind of push her to a point where she feels like she can't get away or whatever. Very interesting animal. Hoping to have success with them this year. I tried cooling them a little bit differently, so we'll see what happens. I'm being a little bit stubborn on that project, and instead of like going to people with success on it and saying, what exactly can I do? I'm trying to kind of learn myself and put myself through the paces and kind of use their behavior and see how what I'm doing is influencing behavior and whatever. Now, what I do know this year is I changed how I was temp dropping, and I did see more consistent locks and much more immediate interest when I paired them up. And I've pretty much also just left them together. So when I do separate them, it's just to feed them. And I'm only feeding them like once every 4 or 5 weeks right now. I'm not throwing a lot of food at them. You know, I food cycled her a little bit before, like I would do with the olives. Same thing with my pair of olives. They've been together basically the last, I don't know, like 6 weeks, with the exception of like 5 days. I separated them to feed the male. And I also separate them if I'm going to feed in that room that they're in, because the female is so food responsive that I don't want to be feeding like my white lip who's in the cage below her, or a couple of the short tails that are in there, or my berm or whatever, and have her, you know, go after the male because he moves. So I am careful with that. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, of course, unfortunately, I am not corporate, so I can't withhold. I don't donate to politicians ever at all. Live or frozen thawed? I think the little guy's eating either or now. It was live that he first took. And I have one other female Sumatran that has not switched to smash that like button. I agree. Not very many people do on these live videos, though. I got a thumbs down on a live video the other day, so I wonder what I did to deserve that. I'm not complaining, I don't care, but it's the first time I've ever gotten a thumbs down on a live video. Get them on your other videos from time to time. Ironically, my Meet the Collection videos a lot of times get thumbs down, and it's just weird. It's like, do you just hate that animal? It's not like it's a controversial topic or anything. I can understand on stuff like that. And then the videos you expect people to rain the thumbs downs on, I don't really see many of them. Like when you talk about enrichment, or you talk about, you know, feeding videos and things like that, that's where you expect to like hurt some feelings, and by and large you don't. So it's weird. It's a weird community. You guys are weird. So give me some ideas to do something to you know, I don't mean necessarily right now, just in general, be thinking. What am I drinking? It's an iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. Although it's mostly melted at this point. But because obviously it's hot in here and it's ice, so things happen. But yeah, I want to get some ideas on how we can give away some stuff, do the US ARC thing as I'm able to. So definitely, yeah, thanks, Kyle. Wow, Kyle nailed it. What else do we need at this point? But yeah, like I said, I don't want to just do a thing where we send some money one time or something. That's no fun. I want to do something where, you know, we get people that aren't members to become members, get used to following along and being more proactive in the community. So if we can do something that encourages that, I think that would be cool. You know, try to be examples for everybody else. See what you can do in your little neck of the woods. Take the opportunity to educate those 2/3 of people that need the education. And let's be honest, there's more than that. There's plenty of people keeping these animals that need education, but start wherever you can, do whatever you can, just kind of help out. I'll take this T positive out in a minute here, because I got to go. The dog's got a play date today. I don't have a Valentine's Day date, but my fucking dog does. So there you go. That's life there. Dan, do you take your snakes out for enhancement in the weather? So I don't let my snakes crawl around the house, really. So any handling that I do this time of year would usually be like on me or with me, maybe on the couch or something while I'm sitting there. One of the nice things about short tails is, by and large, they kind of like to sit in one place. So they don't really mind not, like, you know, some of the other snakes will come out, and that's why I like getting those other species into those cages where they can do things in their cage. So, you know, my white lip and olive and the boa and excuse me, and my spotted python, they have stuff to kind of do and whatever. But yeah, during the summer, I do try to get them outside when weather permits. So pretty much every snake in here, for the most part, gets a shot outside. Morticia hates it, so she doesn't usually. My rock python gets a little suspect outside, so she lost her outside privileges a couple years ago. I did shoot that video with her outside. She's usually okay if I'm holding her, but once she's down on the ground, it's not if, it's when she's gonna flip that switch. So sometimes she's good for 45 minutes, sometimes she's good for 45 seconds. And she's at a size now where when she gets mad, it's not something I can't deal with, but it's just taking unnecessary risk for her and myself, especially after she got up that tree a couple years ago and I had to cut the tree down to get her out. Like, that was just a mess. So I don't want to be doing that again. But she's one that I can take out and sit on the couch with me, and she'll cruise around the couch and crawl down my legs and back up and whatever. She's really good with me for the most part. But it's tough with the dog. You know, the dog's got to be outside if the snakes are out, and it's winter time, so she's outside right now, but it's like 35, 40 degrees right now, so she's fine. Plus she's going to go outside in that play date, play with that other dog and the new puppy, so she'll be outside today for the most part anyway. She hasn't met this dog before, but she's been great with every dog that I've had her around, so I don't think there'll be an issue. Cody can be a little in your face, but I don't think that's going to bother her. She needs friends. I don't really have anybody over the house, obviously, between the COVID stuff and then the weather. My driveway is like winter fucking wonderland right now, where, you know, it's just ice is over and everything else. It's Valentine's. Get in a date. What's my spirit animal? No eggs yet, no. Putting USARC stickers in every shipment sounds good. Yeah, maybe I should get some USARC stickers or something. I put a link on this video to USARC site and mention them. I'm constantly sharing stuff on other platforms. You know, I should try to wear the shirts more. My other USARC shirts I ended up using for like painting and stuff, so they're all covered in crap. So I don't really wear those anymore. Those are like emergency shirts. Short tails, they lay around. Yeah, well, we did talk, somebody was talking the other day about how like animals and pet owners and their pets kind of resemble each other, so I think short tails are appropriate for me. Although I'm not really short, I'm not tall, but I'm 5'11", so I'm not, you know, I'm not Sullivan over here, rocking it at like 5'6", but I'm also not, you know, super tall, so I don't know, maybe like a blood python, you know, big enough, but still fat. We'll see. It's crazy, man. Like, memories come up on Facebook, even from like 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm so thin. It's nuts. And you don't realize how much extra weight you're carrying either, because like I'm up 60 pounds right now. That's a lot of fucking weight. But like when I look at myself, I don't feel like I'm 60 pounds over where I should be. I feel like maybe like 25 or 30. But yeah, it's fucking 60, so it's pretty wild. But that's what getting your heart broke and switching careers from a very active job to a job where you're sitting a lot will do to you. Plus, you know, I haven't gone to the gym in 4 years, so that, wow, yeah, over 4 years now, so that'll help too. But yeah, I used to work at FedEx delivering all day. You know, we used to load our own trucks, and we weren't paid by the hour, so I literally sprinted from my truck to the door at every job, ran all day, because the earlier I got done, the more personal time I had. Because I was paid by the stop, not by the hour. So if I could get done at 1 o'clock and go home, I'm doing it. So I hustled. And then, you know, I would go to the gym too regularly. So at that point, I was in probably the best shape of my life. That's what happens. It's like an extra large Oreo looking at a double stuff Oreo. I don't really like Oreos. I'm not an Oreo person. I'm not doing too bad. Uh-oh, I'm talking about how fat I am, and here comes personal training. Zuckerberg, did you do this? I need some personal training. What I need is some willpower when it comes to food and less stress. I think I'd be just fine. That was amazing timing. I love it. Oh, man. That's my life. All right, let's see if I can get this girl out because I got to leave soon for this play date. Let me see where her head's at. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get her out like this. Oh, it's me. Please don't bite me because I'm really going to have to struggle to get you out like this. Hold on, let me get this top off. Otherwise I'm going to get bit because she has no idea what the fuck I'm doing. She's already like, dude, what the F? I really need to find a new cage for her. If anybody has caging ideas, I don't want to have to put her in like a PVC cage, but I need something bigger. Yeah, you can hiss at me if you want. There we go. There we go. See, that's my personal training right there. Lifting big snakes. Oh, hi. But yeah, she's such a pretty girl and she's so well behaved. But she gets so heavy. I took her out when I was on Cusco's channel and I hate when they do that. That's when it really gets heavy. These don't do anything crazy, huh? Yeah, that's my arm. It's not edible. I can't even see what you're saying. Whew, sweating. Sweating to the oldies. She's just like, why? Why am I getting dragged out so much lately? And she's also like, why is this male in my cage that won't do anything? They certainly can bite. Anything with a mouth can bite. I can bite. I'm probably more likely to bite than her. She's really, really mild-mannered. But she is a pretty big girl. She was 6'8" last time I measured. God, I hate when they do that. It takes so much out of you. I'm curious what she would be now. So this summer I'll get her outside. Maybe if I have somebody that'll help me film, I'll do a video of how you can measure snakes accurately. You know, using a line. And I can maybe do a demonstration with her because you got to get them on the move and everything else. She's pretty good if you give her, I don't want to say a little kick because that gives you the wrong idea, but a little nudge with the foot and you can usually get her heading on the move and put her back because she's getting heavy. Oh, you have to go back. Doesn't want to come out and she doesn't want to go back. That is Snake 101 though. Once she realizes where she is, she'll probably go back. Darling. Get over here more. I'm just trying not to put her on top of Ron because Ron's in her cage right now. And I don't want her to freaking Hulk smash him because he's way smaller than her. There we go. All back in. But yeah, she's way too big for this cage. But she loves tubs and it's like I don't know what to do. I've almost thought about trying to custom make some kind of tub for her. I just hate the way bloods are in PVC. They just never seem as happy. Which might not be the right term for it, but I don't know. I find mine like to be come at from above, not from dead on. Which a lot of people tell me all bloods and short tails hate you coming at them from above, but that's what I do in my entire collection, so that's what they're used to. And I've noticed coming at them from the side just seems to kind of, not necessarily set them off, but put them kind of out of ease, so to speak. I'm out of breath, that's how fat I am. Yeah, I probably could make a PVC bin like that. The thing is though, like, I don't want something that she can't see out of at all. I don't want glass, but I want something that she can see around her a little bit because short tails and bloods do kind of like, they like that feeling of you can't see them, but they can see you. And so these tubs are just smoky enough. Like I don't even like these newer style Christmas tree tubs because they really can't see through these at all. Whereas like the older style, oops, I'm plugged into the charger here. Down here is a little more see-through. When I say older, it's like a year older, but still. I like that style better for the animals. So like I can see my Matrix Het T positive, and I can see my Batik a little bit. It's very like smoky, but I can see them, and same with them. They can kind of see what's going on in the room. And then I've got to work on not being lazy when I'm feeding anymore because I've really got these guys kind of going velociraptor and attacking the cages when I go to open them because of how lazy I've been feeding the last few feedings. So we're going to dial that back and get them back to where they need to be. Dream snake. Which one was your dream snake? I saw a video outside a while ago and just fell in love. Oh, that snake, yeah. That's actually the video that's brought a lot of people to the channel. It's my most viewed video. Also has the most dislikes. But that's because of the subject matter. People don't like, they didn't really understand what I was saying when I was talking about starter snakes in that video. And where I said, like, you know, any snake that's not venomous or, you know, something that can kill you very easily can make a good first snake as long as you're prepared. And also in the same video, I was talking about how I think a lot of people start with ball pythons and it's not really the right starter snake for them. So they took that as me telling them, like, oh, go get an emerald tree boa instead of a ball python. That's not what I'm saying. What I was saying is that ball pythons are not as beginner of a snake as a lot of people think they are. Care-wise, yeah, I mean, they're hard to kill. But they're also very finicky. If things are off, they might not eat. Certain environmental changes can really trigger them to be very nervous and hiding all the time and things like that. So that's why I say it's not necessarily the best snake to start with for the average person. Now, if you're educated on the snake and you understand them and you're prepared for that, then absolutely. But the thing is they're so readily available and there's so many people selling them that'll just sell to anybody with money that these people are getting them and housing them improperly and not understanding why they're having all these problems. So that was my point. But of course, as with anything on the internet, people pick stuff apart and pick what they want. So be it. You know, what are you going to do? I come from collab with Jason. Yeah, actually, I've been talking to Jason a lot lately. We're going to do some more stuff soon. Jason actually just moved to Connecticut, so he's closer to me now. He used to be like a 2-hour ride. Now he's like 45 minutes away. But he's just got a lot of stuff going on. Like even the video he put up this weekend was from, I think, like 2 weeks ago. He had filmed it or something. But he keeps telling me how he needs to get back down there. And actually, Jason sent me some hilarious screenshots. So a while ago, somebody was getting rid of some cats. Somebody he knew, like acquaintance-wise, friend, whatever. And they were at the point where if somebody didn't adopt these cats, they were going to euthanize them. So Jason was like, I don't want to see that happen. So he shared and said, hey, you know, these cats really need a place so they're going to get euthanized or something, you know, whatever. And people attacked Jason as if like he's the one doing it. And this guy sent him a message, and I won't repeat the language he used so that I don't get unmonetized in this video. But he called them the British bundle of sticks and, you know, whatever. And Jason sent the guy back a message that was like, you know, hey, this isn't me. I'm just sharing this to try to help these animals. And the guy's like, okay, British bundle of sticks, then forward it to them. So it's pretty funny. So now I call Jason that all the time when I talk to him. But yeah, I'll be up at his place hopefully soon. And he's actually going to come here and do a video at some point too. Just, you know, weather permitting and time permitting. You know, him, you know, he has a life, he works, he has a wife, and his wife has family, he has a family, and so they're helping coordinate a bunch of stuff, and they're still kind of settling in from moving. That will happen again soon. That's on the agenda. I think Dylan is going to be coming here the beginning of next month sometime, supposedly. Dylan and I have tried to plan him coming out here for a while. This last time was mostly me that kind of put it off. The previous, I don't know how many times was him, but this last one was kind of me. I was just in a funk, and I just didn't really want anybody here. You know, not that I didn't want anybody here, that's not really the right thing to say, but he was going to basically drive out here late Friday night and have to leave early Sunday morning because of the weather. We had a snowstorm coming, and I just didn't feel like the pressure of trying to coordinate a bunch of stuff that day. I just wanted to relax. So I pushed that off. I'm trying to get up to this facility in Connecticut to do a video there. I've been trying to coordinate that for like 2 months, and I'm at the point now where it's like I feel like the guy just doesn't want to do it. But I told him, like, just tell me. I'm not going to get offended. Like, you know, I'm not trying to waste your time, especially because I think it's going to benefit them more than it's going to benefit me, because he's on YouTube and they're putting out some okay videos, but they have like no subscribers. They have less than 100. So I thought if I did a video, maybe they could pick, even if they pick up 20 or 30 people, like that's a huge percentage compared to what they have. So I thought it would be a mutually beneficial situation. Gives me content and helps them build a following, especially because they're a facility that needs to generate income. So if they can generate income on here, generate income, you know, just by people being aware of it, maybe people want to make donations to the facility or whatever, buy a membership. So I was hoping to have that go on, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. And then beyond that, at some point I want to plan a trip when I can. There's a bunch of people in Tennessee I'd like to get down and see. I'd like to go see Matt at O'Malley's, Al Brown. April's down in Tennessee. You know, my buddy Ben's down in Tennessee. There's a bunch of people down there that I'd love to go through and visit, and also make some videos if I could. You know, at some point I'd love to get back out, do another video with Rich out there. That was really well received, and I had a really good time going out there. You know, I love spending time around people that have been in the hobby for a long time and have a lot of information to give, both on this platform and just to me. You know, I'm a sponge for that. I want to hear it all. So come to me. 10 what? 10 what, Kyle? All right. Okay. Thank you for the info. Voodoo Queen is my dream snake. Thanks, Angela. Unfortunately, I'm going to crush your dreams because you're never going to get her. But I do love her. She is wonderful. Her sister's great too. Her sister's just not as happy to go outside and things like that. I don't know if her sister's in shed or not. Let me see. Hey, Tish. Hey, Krabby. Are you crabby, Miss Tish? Well, she's shed, and I gotta get some shed off her back. But this is Morticia, her sister. So this is Voodoo Queen's sister. She's a little bit darker than Voodoo Queen typically. You can see this time of year what happens to me is right there. So all I have to do is spray her down and like wipe with a paper towel, and that'll come right off. But this time of year with the humidity in here, I tend to get that like 1 inch by like 12 back stripe on a lot of snakes. So I have switched some of them over to substrate to try to counteract that. It's worked for some, not for others. But really it's just me being diligent during their shed cycles, and obviously I was not as diligent as I should be with Morticia's here. So I'll have to get in and do that. But you can see she's really good. She just doesn't like going outside. She doesn't like weird surfaces. So she's fine on paper. Like, I don't even know if substrate's an option for her. She might freak out and not deal with it. If you put her on the ground outside, good God. And ironically, her parents both, while they were fine outside and they were fine, like they would never freak out to the level Morticia does. I did a music video shoot and photo shoot with a local talent here named Apathy. And he was trying to take pictures with them on his shoulders, but he was in a suit. And they would not sit still on his shoulders because they did not like the material. They immediately were trying to get off of it. And we were laughing because I would keep putting them on my shoulders and they would just sit there. And Incognito and Tux both would be there for like 25 minutes on my shoulders and not move. The second I stuck them on his, it was like they were jetting trying to get out. So we didn't get very, very good pictures. He ended up having to hold them in front. I don't even think he ever used the pictures, unfortunately. He used a different one. We had some snakes. He had himself and then another friend of his dressed the same, and they went in to shake hands together, and they each had a snake coming out of their sleeve, and the snakes were crossing. And it was a ball python and a blood python that we used. And then basically they used whatever technology to make his friend's face his face, you know, so it looked like he was shaking his own hand, but two separate people. So that shot they did use for the album cover, I believe, or whatever. But yeah, Tux and Incognito would not cooperate, so it was really funny just to see. I didn't like that. And Chad's a super, super great guy, you know, local Connecticut person, so I was happy to help him out, and it was cool to meet him and stuff. I actually met him through a mutual friend. She messaged me and was like, hey, you know, this guy's looking for this, you know, whatever. And so I was like, yeah, let's do it. You know, I'll bring a couple snakes up there. We went to like the temple or whatever he belongs to. I think he's like a Mason or something. So we went there and did that. And then I did another music video shoot, a paid music video shoot up in Massachusetts where they used my berm, my big blood python there, the boa, Stevie, who's not here anymore. She's in the first video on this channel, but I sold her to Jesse, who pops in from time to time. And she's doing fantastic with him, which makes me very, very happy. But she was in that too, and I think those are the only snakes I brought to that shoot, if memory serves. But anyways, I got to get my dog to this play date. So thank you to Scott, thank you to Sam, thank you to Kyle for the super chats. Or Kyle, did you super chat this time? I don't think you did this time. I'm thanking you for something that didn't happen. But you have in the past, and I appreciate it. Plus, as somebody who also has a little bit of a hairline suffering like I do, you know, we still got to stick together. Yeah, you'll have to settle for something similar for sure. Morticia and Voodoo Queen are never going anywhere. Those snakes will be lifers here. I don't, you know, unless I die or something like that happens. If I'm homeless, I'll find a way to make a cage in my glove compartment or something for them. So they'll be staying, especially now that I sent their mother back to Kara. I need something here to remember her by for sure. So those two, those three I got there, and then the three I'm keeping up there are all her offspring, so they'll stay here. So is that eight of her kids that I have? 2 males and 6 females. 1, 2, yeah, 2 males, 6 females. And then hopefully this upcoming winter. Oh, the barn, -9. There you go. The horses must love that. Although they're built pretty well. There you go, Kyle. Now, see, that's what it was. My spider senses knew that you were going to super chat, so I was just thanking you in advance. Maybe I should try doing that with other people. I'll really be doing the US ARC thing. So have fun with that, Lori. Yeah, you know, honestly, I wish every one of my snakes was a lifer, but, you know, life does happen, and sometimes there are things that you part with, like my super stripe female that I just sent up with Jeremy. So I miss her a lot. I like that snake a lot, but you do sometimes have to accept the fact that we have to focus on some of our other animals from time to time. You know, I definitely don't have the trading card mentality. I didn't get rid of her to bring something else in or anything like that. It was just, I wasn't going to breed that male ocelot. Jeremy was interested, you know, whatever. So I sold him, and she was the female that I had bought to pair to him eventually. So it just made sense to keep those two together. Plus Jeremy's local, so I can go up there and you know, visit her. I won't visit the male ocelot. That snake hates my guts. And I did really enjoy the fact that he like went after and grabbed Jeremy like the first 2 seconds Jeremy saw him, which I warned him would happen. I don't know what that is, Kyle. It looks like a little wheel of colors. So Lori, you have fun in the barn. Kyle, you have fun being you. You guys, thank you again. Angela, sorry that I had to crush your dreams today. You know, part of me would like to just say it's because I love my snakes, but also my ex was named Angela, so, you know, feels kind of good to dream crush that, especially on Valentine's Day. So we will see you guys soon. I will take the dog to her play date, and if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, I'll probably post some videos or pictures from that later. Alrighty, guys, so give me your ideas on doing some kind of US ARC fundraising type thing where we can give away some memberships or, you know, whatever it is, and we will catch you next time. What is that? Ron the non-breeder. Hey, he's on your water bottle, man. Now you're drinking that. I mean, what better contraceptive than Ron Burgundy on merchandise? Definitely check out the merchandise if you guys haven't yet. I'm going to try to get some more designs done shortly. We'll see you guys. Thank you so much.